Hi, Anne.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. And it's such an honour to speak here and in the company of so many other wonderful speakers here this evening. My name is Anne Keary, and I live in University Rosedale Ward 11. I currently serve as Community Co-Chair of the TDSB's Environmental and Sustainability Community Advisory Committee. I'm also a member of For Our Kids Toronto, which is part of a nationwide network of parents and caregivers who advocate for climate justice. The issue I wish to speak to is this: does the budget address the climate crisis, and will it help build a more just and sustainable future for the young people of Toronto? Will young people feel assured that the adults who run this city care about their future and are doing all they can to ensure that Toronto plays its part in limiting warming to 1.5 and avoiding catastrophic climate tipping points in their lifetimes? I ask these questions because a recent CAMH study found that 50% of young people in Ontario are depressed about their futures because of climate change. That's a shocking statistic. And for young people from Black and Indigenous communities and communities of colour, this threat of climate change comes on top of and threatens to worsen the impacts of systemic racism and economic inequality, about which so many here have spoken so eloquently. Young people are anxious because they don't see their governments really taking action on the scale needed to address these intersecting crises. But in Toronto, this need not and should not be the case. In 2021, the city passed the Transform TO Net Zero strategy and set a new goal of reaching net zero by 2040. The strategy includes detailed plans for reducing emissions across all sectors: buildings, transportation and waste, while also creating jobs, improving public health and advancing social equity. So the question is, does this budget support the implementation of the net zero strategy? And the answer is that while funds are being directed towards some elements of the plan, it is not nearly enough, and in some cases, the investments are taking us in the wrong direction. There are good things here, and here I would give a shout out to the Transform TO grants for TDSB school community climate projects. We need more of these kinds of programs that really engage youth and their lived expertise in developing local climate justice initiatives. This work improves mental health and strengthens community connections. We need more of it. But there are other elements in this budget that not only fail to support the net zero strategy, but actually undermine it. And here I am going to restrict my comments to transport. A key target of the net zero strategy is to have 75% of trips under 5 kilometres walked, biked or by transit by 2030. That's 7 years from now. This means fewer private car trips, thriving walkable neighbourhoods, good cycling infrastructure and affordable, efficient transit. But look at the budget. First, in the capital budget, nearly $2 billion is scheduled to be spent on the rebuild of the eastern end of the Gardiner Expressway. Meanwhile, cycling infrastructure and sidewalk repair are to receive only just over $310 million. In the middle of an accelerating climate crisis, it makes no sense to be directing such a disproportionate amount of city funds to a project that will encourage more cars and lock in more carbon pollution. I therefore urge councillors to reassess this project, look again at the boulevard option and consider how the funds saved might be better spent on building the active transportation infrastructure we need to reach our 2030 target and build a better city. Second, we need to invest in transit. The recent decision to cut service and increase fares will decrease ridership and disproportionately impact low-wage workers, racialised folks and women. I therefore join TTC riders in calling on you to reverse the cuts and invest in fully funding the Fare Pass program, creating more priority bus lanes and expanding free transit to people receiving social assistance. Further, I add my voice to those calling for the adoption of a commercial parking levy and the dedication of the funds raised to transit. We need so many new revenue tools, but this one in particular makes climate sense. Large commercial parking lots encourage the use of private cars asphalt over vast areas of land, worsen the urban heat island effect, and increase rainwater runoff, which damages stormwater infrastructure and exacerbates flood risk.
We'll have to wrap up, please.
Sure. On the other hand, an efficient, well-funded and therefore well-used transit system reduces emissions and congestion, improves air quality and public health, and is fundamental to equity. There is much work to be done. Investing in transit and active transportation infrastructure would have immediate and long-term benefits. It would help us reach our climate targets. It would signal to young people that you are serious about addressing the climate crisis, that you care about their future, and you want to build a better Toronto for them and for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I believe Councillor Sachs has a question or two for you, and then Councillor Moyse.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hello, Anne. You have spent a lifetime working with young people. What specific, tangible steps does the city need to do to show young people that we take their climate future seriously?
I think there needs a lot more investment in engaging young people. It's great to see this program starting in the schools. I would love to see work being done in community centres, in libraries, and really learning from young people what their needs are, where they see the city should be going. I think that kind of engagement is what we need to see, and it's starting, and I'm hoping that that will inform the future kinds of programs that need to be developed. But I would love to see that in so many other institutions in addition to the school board.
And are you hearing from young people that they are prepared to take direct action themselves other than telling other people what to do? And if so, what are they willing to do, and what help do they need from the city to do it?
By direct action, are you referring to the Fridays for Future climate strikes? I mean, young people have a diverse kinds of concerns depending on where they're coming from in the city. I see young people, I mean, there were amazing young people here today presenting from TTC Riders. So young people, there's just so many fronts on which young people are working. What do they need from the city? I think they need their city to listen to them. That's what I would say. And so to create situations in which the city can listen to young people, that's what I would recommend.
Well, listening is one thing, but what are you actually asking us to do?
I would say, I mean, youth councils in different neighbourhoods, asking young people, where would you like bike lanes in this area? What are the problems that you're facing? How is this green space working for you? Are your streets safe? All of these are very much intersecting issues, but if you had youth councils in every ward, neighbourhood across the city, I think that that could be really powerful.
What are the cheapest, fastest, most transformative things that you think the city can do to achieve its climate promises?
Investing in transit, getting to work on building retrofits, all of that work is critical. Investing in sustainable, active transportation infrastructure, those things seem key to me. Priority bus lanes, priority bus lanes, that would be one really great thing to see. That would improve transit and get people back onto transit, and yeah.
And in terms of parking levies, what do you see as the major advantages of the city adopting them?
It's a great source of revenue. I believe the analysis from the city was up to $575 million. It would work to, as others here have noted, discourage the use of private vehicles. It would, and then encourage people to consider getting onto transit. It would get attention paid to the costs of these huge parking lots in terms of their impacts on the stormwater infrastructure, the pollution that is then going into our waterways. It would get the city to pay attention to the actual costs that we are all paying for the existence of these huge parking lots.
Thank you. And finally, are these issues that you're describing just issues
Sorry, what was the question?
The concern of young people in the suburban parts of the city.
The concerns of, sorry, what was that? I missed it again.
Is it, are climate issues that you've described, are they just for young people downtown, or are these concerns equally shared by young people in the suburban parts of our city?
I believe they are concerned, that young people across the city are concerned. My own daughter is a member of Fridays for Future, and I know that, that there are many young people in Etobicoke, in Mississauga, coming from Barrie, from all over the city, from Scarborough. There are young people concerned about this threat across the city.
Thank you. Councillor Moyes.
You know what, it's okay. It's almost 9 o'clock and we've all been here for very long. So I'm not going to take another 5 minutes of your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Members of